Hello, and welcome to Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting on episode 5 of Roshidere, or Alia Sometimes Hides Her Feelings in Russian. If you'd like to watch along, then start watching now. Last we left off, Alia made a bit of a confession, going as far as to tell Kuze that, she loved him. And at this point, I feel like Kuze has sort of, put the proverbial noose around his neck, because, maybe he could have said, I actually can speak a little Russian here and there, and that wouldn't have been such a big deal, but, by this point, any plausible deniability you have, that's kind of gone out the window at this point. So, really, if there's going to be any coming clean at all, you really have to, massage events, I guess, to just really sort of, gloss over the fact that you probably knew what she was saying all the time. And even then, if you do something like that, that's not really good for, the foundation of a relationship, Oh dear. Yeah, so there's baggage too, apologizing alone won't fix the problem. I mean, I guess, really the only thing he can hope for is that, there's also some grand gesture to accommodate, or accompany his actions, rather. Ooh. That is interesting that Suo would try and, manipulate events, but, oh dear. I was thinking that Kuze is right to consider that Suo would try and manipulate events to get him to join the student council, but, she would also sort of manipulate these events to occur too. And at least Kuze realizes it and he's not playing into it, cause, whoa buddy, that would get interesting quickly. I mean, man, she really is dead set on causing trouble. Yeah, she's saying, I just realized something, but, man. She's like, oh boy, you'd never walked in on me changing. This is something that needs to be rectified to the point where I'm willing to do it right now. Oh dear. Breaking the fourth wall too, shame on her. Oh, okay. So this is somehow making up for tricking him, which leads me to believe that she was involved somehow in the incident from the previous episode. Man, I really... Oh. Okay, I was gonna say, like, I hope he sets her straight, but, yeah, like, I mean, he did, not the way I expected. They really are related after all. Man, okay. You know, I thought this was just gonna be like a little one-off gag, but this is going on quite a while. I mean, I guess it makes sense with Suo and what her whole modus operandi is. So I guess, you know, it makes sense they eventually get down to brass tacks. You know, essentially Kuze has joined the student council, which, you know, that was her goal in part. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I guess that's the other shoe. Essentially, Kuze has to admit, like, yeah, I'm gonna be working against you, essentially. Like, I'm helping Alia. And, you know, this is something. I've noticed lately in subtitles that they use a lot of, interesting, slang terms. Like, she's saying she's been cucked. Like, I guess maybe in a mimetic sense, but, certainly not literally. Man. Suo's a menace. Man, I really think Kuze would do well just to, like, you know, leave her alone. Like, clearly, she is starving for attention and you're just feeding into it by playing off her. Like, sure, he's not going along with everything, but, you know... Man, like, it really is an ironclad rule that you can't give any of these people attention. I mean, I feel like it's, a definite sort of derangement to consider an accident in second grade something relevant. Oh. So I guess that's another wrinkle if Kuze's just bringing it up that she used to have really bad asthma. I'm wondering if that's going to rear its ugly head at some point. You know, perhaps at the worst possible moment, such that Kuze's loyalties are divided between Alia and his sister. He does seem to have something of a weak spot for her where, you know, he can't just outright ignore her even though it might be better to do that. But, you know, I'm wondering, with all her talk, is she actually serious or is she just trying to get a rise out of him? I mean, she does seem to be talking a bit more sincerely now, saying essentially like, you know, like, I don't blame you too much for running with Alia. I mean, maybe when you get down to it, running for student council president isn't, all that important in the grand scheme of things. I mean, sure, it might be important if you're a high school student because you really don't have the life experience beyond that, but I don't know. I guess it's just one of those things where it's important in the moment because it literally is the biggest thing you've ever done, even if it sort of pales in comparison to the things you do later in life. Wow. Okay, she's just never gonna stop, is she? Like, referring to partnering up with Alia is cheating. Like, man. Yeah, you know, I don't know what he could do to really resolve this situation. It seems like she's dead set on just, you know, committing a taboo. Although, I guess at the very least, you know, she is relieved that somebody's able to motivate him in any regard. Which, you know, there's a bit of disappointment that it's not her, understandably so, but at least she has the good grace to recognize that it's better that it happened at all. Ooh. You know, yeah, okay, I think Kuze is sort of like exaggerating here to himself, but maybe the fact that Alia is motivating him... Oh, Okay. Wow. Okay. Man, if it really isn't one thing, it's definitely the other. She can't help herself. Frankly, I think getting stuck under there is precisely what she deserves if that's exactly what's happening. Something tells me that just pulling her out isn't gonna work necessarily. Alright, this is the right decision. Oh boy. I'm glad I've got normal siblings. There really is something to be said for that. Like, I can't imagine what sort of a hellscape my life would become if I had Kuze's life. Like, good lord, man. Like, imagine having to deal with that sort of a thing, like, right when you wake up. Now, tellingly, Ali is expecting Kuze to show up, but he hasn't yet. And I guess now that he has, he seems to be, much more normal than usual. Like, she was expecting him to be all sleepy and tired, but, I guess that he's well rested is, sort of unusual, I suppose there wasn't any good anime the night before. So I guess the question is, like, does Alia realize this is essentially her doing? She's essentially motivated him by running for the student council, and now, like, he's sort of gotten into this mode of being a productive human being. I like how she thinks that it's a lack of sleep that's made him more normal. I mean, not normal for himself, of course, but, Oh, okay. So that's interesting. She thinks this entire change in demeanor is entirely for her benefit, which in a sense I suppose it is, but, I wonder if she's almost giving herself too much credit, Ooh, okay. Well, I guess things are back to normal. He's not really paying attention and he gets smacked in the head by a volleyball. Like, I feel like maybe a volleyball couldn't knock someone out cold like that. I feel like, as far as balls go, volleyballs are pretty squishy. But, man, like a gym class injury. I feel like this is a missed opportunity to have Ali attend to him in the nurse's office or something like that. Like, getting knocked out cold, that's far from nothing, Like, if that's happening to you, you're not in a good place. It's sort of often treated as, I guess, like a plot device in fiction, people getting knocked out and there's no consequence to that, but like, in real life, if you get knocked out, bad things are liable to happen. Ooh, Kuze. He's believing Suo's lies. She described Alia's bust size and, even though it was hearsay, like, he's rounding up. I feel like, Alright. What is going on here? The first episode it was feet, now it's armpits. Who is responsible for this? Man. Like, I have to say, I'm baffled that, like, it's one thing that they would do it, but it's another thing that they would call attention to it. Like, what's the deal here? Who is this made for? Who is doing this deliberately? Like, it really can't be an accident, even if it is in-universe, Alia sort of accidentally showing off. I guess more importantly, like, does Kuze really care about that sort of a thing? Like, shame on him, honestly. Like, he draws the line at sisters, but armpits and feet are okay? Man, I really don't blame him for keeping his gaze above the horizon, just because you never know what you might see these days. Okay, so it seems like everybody's just, trying to tease him. Like, what's the deal here? Is Alia's sister trying to get a piece of the action too? I mean, she does seem kind of ditzy, but I don't know. There seem to be a lot of things going on in the background, because, like, that's a telling line there, what she said about a naughty dog. Like, I don't think I really blame Alia for suddenly becoming defensive. Like, man. Like, Kuze's gonna have to start beating the girls off with a stick at the rate things are going. And frankly, I don't think it would be unusual for him to beat his sister with a stick either. Alright, so he has an instinctive understanding of where things are going now, but I feel like there's going to be a pleasant surprise here. I guess it's nice that Ali is still concerned about him suffering a head injury. That is definitely better than what he thought was going to happen. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, if she's, like, feeling up the back of his head, like, he's only gonna get an even better view. I find it interesting that he's also sort of pulling away and, trying to get her to knock it off. And also he's sort of playing stupid about that whole, like, why are you being so nice to me business. Like, he knows full well, but... Huh. Yeah, I feel like just sort of lying and saying nothing's wrong, like, there's no way he's gonna be convincing, Just because, like, he knows what Alia said last episode, like... Huh. Okay, so he's somehow snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. Like, I skipped breakfast, I'm hungry, so it's like, okay, he was too hungry to sleep through class. Like, man. It really is incredible how effortlessly things were going, and then he managed to screw it up. It's interesting that he would quote scripture like that about turning the other cheek and all that. Like, I feel like it's just going to earn him 2 slaps. It's interesting that she brings up that she said she loves him and all that. This episode has been kind of conspicuous for its lack of Russian. And, for Alia, who is said to sometimes hide her feelings in Russian, she's not hiding very much this episode. I feel like, maybe like a little suka bliat here and there would not go amiss. I mean, especially considering how Kuze is essentially just sort of like following her around and kind of needling her a little bit. I mean, I get the distinct impression that she doesn't particularly want him around at the moment. Ooh. Something tells me a new challenger has entered the ring. Okay. Alright, well, just like that, I guess. That scary demeanor is all for show. Okay. Alright, so this girl, for whatever reason, was not involved in the dispute between the soccer team and the baseball team, and, perhaps she should have been. Wow. I think Kuze shouldn't really get involved with her. She seems to regard violence as a first resort here. Yeah, something tells me she's gonna cause trouble going forward. It really does seem like everybody always just causes trouble. It is something that even the student council president's like, oh yeah, no, she doesn't hit people, she just threatens to. Man, that is a crunchy sound effect. So, where is this going here, She was seemingly here to solve a dispute that may or may not have happened, but, seeing as how it didn't, what's the deal? Surely she's not going to be, the student council's enforcer or anything like that, right? Ooh. Alright, well... all sorts of things are happening and none of it makes all that much sense. Wow. Kuze, he can't help himself. It's a good thing he's talking quietly, but I feel like, if he's telling stupid puns like that out loud, he might be the punching bag for that character. So it's interesting that Suo was late, because I was given to understand she was a pretty good student, but, I'm wondering, is she really more out of it than she pretends? Wow. Okay, so he's just going out with it, announcing their candidacy. I don't know if this is necessarily the time and place. Alright, well that's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, then by all means, tune in for the next one. See you, Space Cowboy.